Samantha Hayes is an expert archaeologist. Along with her team, she embarks on an expedition to track down the missing remains of an ancient caravan in the Rub al Khali desert of Saudi Arabia. Her companions include researchers Daniel Carter and Olivia Reed, as well as a group of local guides. Daniel is a brilliant and methodical academic specializing in ancient languages and inscriptions. Olivia is an expert in geographical exploration and ancient maps, known for her courage in field research. The local guides, experienced in navigating the desert's mysteries, have lived in the region for years and have mastered the wilderness. Although this exploration initially seems like a typical historical adventure, Samantha soon realizes that things are far more complex than they first appeared. As the locals warned, most who enter this region never return. The desert sometimes mysteriously shifts, paths disappear, compasses malfunction, and even the stars in the sky seem to glow in an unfamiliar pattern. Samantha is reluctant to believe these rumors, but as the expedition progresses, strange occurrences begin to undermine her skepticism. On the first night of their camp, Daniel notices strange lights glowing in the distance. Olivia and one of the guides go to investigate, but hours pass without them returning. Samantha, along with Daniel, decides to follow their tracks. However, Olivia's and the guide's footprints suddenly vanish. The sand seems to have swallowed them up. As they search the area, there are no signs of movement, only the eerie, cold wind sweeping across the dunes. The air thickens, creating a sense that the desert is trying to draw them in. When they return to camp, the guides are in a panic. One of them whispers, "They won't come back. This place is cursed." Samantha tries to cling to logic, but bizarre events continue. Throughout the night, footsteps echo in the empty desert, whispers reverberate, and camp supplies mysteriously disappear. Shadows seem to drift around the tents, but when they approach, there's nothing there. After a sleepless night, one of the guides finds strange inscriptions carved into the sand, written in an unknown language. The inscriptions are fresh, as though someone had written them in the dark of night without leaving a trace. The guide kneels and examines the carvings carefully. In a dry voice, he murmurs, This language is so ancient, most people don't even know it exists anymore," he says. His hands tremble as he runs them over the symbols. These appear to be a dialect of the lost city of Ubar, but some of these characters are even older. They could be from pre-Babylonian times. This looks like a warning. Spirits, trapped souls are mentioned, and the guide's voice falters, his eyes widening in horror. "They're watching us. These words say they can see us. For them, past and future exist simultaneously. Their time is frozen, or never existed at all. If they realize we don't belong here, they'll erase us." The next day, the team discovers a hidden passage between massive rocks in a remote corner of the Rub al Khali. The desert's silence is broken only by the winds that have weathered the stones over centuries, revealing structures that seem man-made. The narrow path between the rocks resembles a time tunnel, deep, dark, and mysterious. Along the way, stone columns and ancient inscriptions appear, somehow preserved from the ravages of time, but still gradually deteriorating. The stone columns on either side of the path have lost their sharp lines after thousands of years of wear. Some have fallen, others remain standing, all covered in strange and indecipherable symbols. It feels as if each symbol tells a story, but these stories are so complex that only a mind with centuries of experience could unravel them. As they progress down the path, the way narrows, and when they reach the end, they find a massive stone gate sealing off an ancient ruin. This ruin is likely the final stop of the lost caravan they've been searching for, but the strange atmosphere suggests that this place is more than just a typical archaeological site. Though the temple seems to have been ravaged by time, it is oddly preserved. The towering columns, hidden in the shadows, seem as though they've risen from the ground after some ancient disaster, each one carrying the memory of a story. As they step deeper into the ruin, they notice strange, human-like figures emerging from the walls. These aren't just ordinary human figures. The faces carved into the stone are eerily reminiscent of the dead, frozen with expressions of fear. These faces could be those who lived long ago, now eternally trapped, marked by the terror of something that happened to them. Samantha and Daniel decide to try and decipher the inscriptions. Daniel, as an expert in ancient languages, is adept at interpreting the languages of civilizations that once thrived in these lands. However, the inscriptions they find are in a language far beyond anything they have encountered. Despite this, Daniel focuses on certain symbols, slowly beginning to make sense of them. At the end of the text, he finds a chilling message. Anyone who enters these lands becomes part of it forever. As the wind echoes through the ruin, a heavy silence falls, as if the stone faces themselves are whispering. Daniel's eyes widen as he realizes something. These symbols, they describe souls sacrificed to the gods, exiled outside of time, he murmurs. Each face could be a reflection of someone who vanished in time. Could Olivia's and the guide's disappearance have been the beginning of a curse? This place seems to be outside of time, a terrible place. But what about us? What will happen to us? Daniel's words hang in the air as the rest of the team stands frozen in place. In that moment, it feels as though the temple and its inscriptions are not just trapping lost souls, but also drawing in those who dare to explore this place. Suddenly, the air shifts. A violent gust of wind blows sand into their faces, and a terrifying roar rises as the wind becomes a deafening noise. Samantha, Daniel, and the rest of the team try to flee the ruin, but with each step, the whispers in the wind become more distinct, as if something is following them. The words are unclear, but it feels as if the shadows of the past are speaking to them. When they return to the camp, they are horrified to see that the faces of Olivia and the missing guide have now appeared among the stone figures in the ruin. Their faces, like the others, are frozen with terror and despair. But there's one difference. Their eyes are twitching, as though they are trying to tell something. Samantha suddenly realizes how strange time has become. Shadows stretch unnaturally long, footprints in the sand vanish, and days seem to stretch for hours, while others seem to disappear altogether. Mentally, they begin to lose their grip on reality. The world feels as if it's spinning out of control. The ruin, bizarrely, seems to be shifting out of time, moving like a warped dimension. Eventually, Samantha, in desperation, manages to send a message to the world through a satellite device. Her mind is hazy and her body is weak, but she gathers her strength for one last attempt. She carries the device to the highest point of the ruin, struggling to keep it working against the flow of time. The screen flickers weakly, but the signals are unstable. She looks up, noticing the stars in the sky glow in an odd formation, as though signaling the presence of another dimension. Somehow, the device gathers enough power to establish a connection. With trembling fingers, she types her message. If anyone receives this signal, do not come here. This is a time prison. We will never leave. As she waits for confirmation that the message has been sent, she feels her heart race. Seconds stretch into minutes, and then, at last, the screen lights up with a green checkmark confirming the message was sent. The stars seem to shine brighter for a moment, whispering that the signal has reached its destination and that there is no turning back. As Samantha watches the screen go dark and the final signal fades, time itself seems to freeze. The desert falls into a deep silence, and everything around them transforms into a ghostly void. Moments later, the team regains consciousness, as though they were pulled from an endless sleep. At first, everything feels blurry, but then clarity returns. They realize that their inner strength has fought against the distortions of time, allowing them to survive. Reunited and determined, they continue their struggle against the curse of the desert. The winds may howl, but they now have a newfound strength to face whatever comes next. Finally, they find the exit. As the strange effects of time slip away, the ruins' terrible grip loosens. The world outside seems cold and silent, like an empty void. As Samantha steps away from the desert, she knows that the lost caravan's tale is not the end. There are still other stories waiting to be told, other travelers lost to time. But for now, they are free. The desert may still claim its secrets, but they have escaped its grasp. And so, the legend of the lost caravan fades into the past, but its mystery will rise again, somewhere, sometime. If you like this story, don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe for more content.